Ben, there's been a lot of success for the football club commercially and off the pitch, but on the pitch, it hasn't gone as we planned. How do you plan on improving that?
Yeah, I think off the pitch, we've been really proud of the efforts by everyone. But ultimately, that aids the strength of how we can be on the pitch financially and improving everything. And the club deserves that. It deserves it from a fan base perspective. And we haven't been good enough on the pitch. We know that. And just before the World Cup, we started a review based on windows that we've had. And as a result of that, we restructured. I have 100% backing from the board that we will be bringing in a director of football moving forward, which we're delighted to reveal.
Talk us through the director of football role then. What is that person's domain and how will that help improve things?
Well, ultimately, that person leads on the footballing side from a strategy and from a structure perspective. They'll be reviewing all areas of the footballing side. They'll report into me as the CEO, but they'll also have a visibility of the board and how we move forward. Budgets will obviously be held by the football club, by myself, but they'll be working with me hand in hand to take us forward.
In terms of characteristics then, or a skill set or experience, what are you looking for the director of football?
Well, I think we're looking for an experienced head in that area, someone that can really take charge and lead on a much more medium long-term strategy. They can work with academy. They can work with all of the areas over at HTC, whether it be strength and conditioning, medical, recruitment, football admin, and ultimately be the glue and the strategic kind of lead in that area. I'd like them to have a kind of experience of Scottish football and be able to really understand how we can be better in the areas that we need to be better.
How does the role of a director of football change the role of the manager?
Well, I think ultimately it should be there to support the manager, work hand in hand with Lee and ultimately work hand in hand with a lot of the staff that work over at HTC, whilst reviewing, whilst improving. But it's about support at the end of the day and about football knowledge, nous and driving a strategy which makes us better. And that's what we all want at the club, from fans to staff to the board. And what I would expect from this individual is someone that comes with Scottish experience, someone that has football knowledge, contacts in the game, someone that will come in and make us better and put processes in place that ensure that we correct some of the things that we've perhaps got wrong and move us forward.
You mentioned recruitment within that. What does the introduction of a director of football mean for recruitment?
Well, it means a lot, but it also means that it's one of many areas that a director of football would need to work with and alongside. I think ultimately the strengths that we're looking for is someone obviously with a recruitment bias. They need to be and have experience in that area. But also I need someone with a strong depth of knowledge in the Scottish game. I want them to have worked with and for big clubs in senior positions. And I really, really want that kind of football nous and that football expertise. And in my career today, I've worked with, kind of sporting directors. So I'm very comfortable with this appointment and I know what they can bring to the table. So I'm hoping we now have to get the right person in place to ensure that we can take the club forward.
So what does that mean for Ian Gordon and the rest of the recruitment team that are already in the building?
Well, I think it means the same as it means for someone in strength and conditioning or football admin. It means that there will be a review of the processes and practices that we've got in place. And Ian's no different, and the recruitment team are no different. We need to improve in all aspects of our football strategy.
Obviously, the plans have been approved to bring in a director of football, but how long will it be until Hibs fans see an appointment of a director of football?
Well, ultimately, I'd prefer to get the right candidate that brings all the qualities that we've spoken about rather than trying to get them quickly. I want to get the right person in place. So that'll take as long as it takes. But this is a fantastic club, so I can't imagine we'll be short on quality applicants for the role. And then we'll look to bring them in as soon as possible so they can start hitting the ground running and affecting what we do on a day-to-day basis.
So it might take a little bit of time to bring in a director of football, but what happens right now? Obviously, we're in the middle of the January transfer window.
Well, I think as the manager has already stated publicly, we have to trim our squad. So there is a focus on outs. If there's someone that we can bring in that is better than what we have and brings real quality to the squad, we'll look to do that. But it has to be quality over quantity. I think moving forward in the immediate short term, I'll continue to do what I am doing, which is negotiating the ins and the outs. And I'm sure that we'll have a busy January transfer window from that perspective.
And whilst we're on the January transfer window, obviously there's been a lot of talk, a lot of speculation surrounding the future of Ryan Porteous. Is there anything going on with him at this moment in time? What's the latest?
Well, I think we've firstly got to point out that Ryan's been a fantastic servant for the club. We've had nothing but positive discussions throughout, but Ryan is likely to leave the club in this window. There are several options that Ryan could choose from. But ultimately that will come down to Ryan, and we're looking to extract the best deal possible for the club, whilst also keeping an eye on the best deal possible for Ryan.
Just finally, Ben, how pleased are you that you can bring in a director of football, and how big of a step is this for Hibs?
It's a big step. It feels like a big step. I'm delighted that we can do this. I'm really pleased with the support that I've received from the board. Ron is a fantastic owner that wants to move this club forward. Is backing this 100%, and I'm just really pleased that we know what we've got to work on. We know what we've got to do to get this right, and ultimately, I just hope that the fans feel as excited as we all do at this new appointment.